Hello YouTube friends, welcome to the Red Parrot channel. I am your host Mary Ellen. This is a recurring episode of Slow Stitch and I'm calling mine Sew Saturday. So catch up for everyone. I've done a little of this, a little of that, a little of the others since I have been with you last, and that is absolutely what this is intended to help me with, and that is be able to sew a little bit on the more regular. So what do I want to do first? I have Hexies, Mamagami, and Makote. I have not planned this particularly well. So the Mamagami I'm going to put aside because that's the least crucial, I think. Let's do that. So first thing, a show and tell. A lot of you who are sewers have seen this. It's a spring-loaded snip. And with a pair of scissors, normal, you have to put your hands in, open it, and then close it to cut. This, you just have to close to cut. Quilters quite often will use this. It's a lot easier on your hands if all you're doing is sort of snipping thread. The paper crowd also has spring-loaded scissors as well, and that just, there's a carpal tunnel. The tunnel is here, and that's sort of that grip repetition, and when you are doing that, that's all activated, and so having something spring-loaded to reopen so that you can position and close may help with some accessibility. So let's start off strong and risky. Oh, I just finished that. That's sad. I should put that away, so let me just, so it doesn't tip, because even if there's only a little bit of tea left, it will find its way to the spout and do maximum damage. That is, okay, focus. Here is the coat. So this is the inside out of the fan coat, and I'm putting the lining in. So when we last left off, I needed to put some more edging in here just to make it meet. Another tip, sometimes when you don't know what to do next, the thing that you need to solve is what is the immediate next thing that you need to do, because sometimes that's the thing that stalls everything out. So I figured out that the immediate next thing that I need to do after hanging this, you know, those sort of wreath hanger things. I have one over a door that I see on the regular. Actually, I have a couple of them, and I hang the garment so that I can see it on the regular, to just sort of go, don't know yet, don't know yet. And so there were little tiny seams here that I needed to pick and open so that I could sew that. That was the thing that I needed to do. And then once I did that, it's like, oh, okay, now I have the seams open and I can carry on. But it took me a long time to figure that out. But we have it figured out now, and we have got this sewn in, and it's almost invisible, I should say, which is good. So we are here today to do some very dangerous, because who doesn't like to start off Saturday strong with some danger, some seam snipping. So this is sort of the under the arm spots where I want to snip so that it hangs right. Will that hang right? I'm going to say it won't. I think it wants, what does it want to do? It might want that. So, safety tip when you're using super sharp scissors, put a pin in the seam that you don't want to cut across, like that. So if I use these scissors, I get really close up to it, but the pin will prevent me from going accidentally through a lot. So I think what I want to, I don't want to do a lot. I think that's what I want to do. Just a little bit of something, something. Yeah, and I need, there. Is that a little better? Got too many layers. There's one layer. There's 2 layers. Oh, and I got the bottoms. Okay, so there. Let's see how that works. Yeah, that's going to be a little better, I think. Yeah, it needed that. Okay. Let's do this side. Second verse, same as the first. Okay. And I want, what am I doing here? Oh, it's a much nicer view where I want the notch to go. Come on. So, pin needs to be repositioned. That's step 1. Because that looks like it's dangerous and I don't want to chomp. So we're going to do that. There's one. The clipping just allows for curves to have more flexibility, and when you're going around sort of circle edges and curves, you quite often need to, they call it clipping your edges. And that's much better. Yep. Okay. Now we have to do this, which is going to be super. So this is linen, much thinner than this. This is going to feel like cutting like butter compared to that. So we really need the pin. Okay. Here. Oh, that's much better. Yep, okay. And last one. You can see here there's puckering that's happening. It's there. That's what I'm trying to get rid of. other ones I did on that side. So let's do that. Let's just be consistent, just for grins. Just for show. There we are. Now I want to just pop that in. There. And much better. Much, much better. Don't know why you're out here. There we are. Okay, so that's progress. Let's just sort of shake this out a bit. So the next thing I need to do is get the pattern book and make sure that this distance is the correct distance for this coat, because we might need to do some more adjusting here. I'm not sure. It'll all get itself sorted out. And then I need to press that down or flat or something. And then we will be able to start, I want to baste first the corner, and we might need to baste this to this first so that it's not shifting all over the place. It's such a it's so helpful to do a baste on a lot of things, and it feels time consuming and what a waste, and why don't I just wing it? Part of that is you'll just be happy you did. It allows your results to be better. So I'm going to get rid of these, I think. Maybe not. No. Okay. So coat done. Next up, we are going to look at our hexes. So these are the hexes. I've got 3 of each color sewn now, and this gives me about a 2 by 1.5 area. I have a couple of things in mind. So one thing, I need more. So if I double that, I would get 4 by 3. I'm going to do 1 of each color next because I don't want to overdo it, and I might need to do edges. And by edges, I mean just create something that looks like that so that it can be inserted into that. And then the same thing all the way along, so you actually have a straight edge. Wow. The other thing that I'm thinking of doing, which I think would be fun, because this is going to be given to somebody who is really interested in the outdoors and the natural environment, etc., and is not a dyer, sewer, artist kind of thing. I would love to put the plant, this is sage flower, so I would love to put that on there. Some of you are saying you're going to embroider it. My brain says I just want to stamp it. I know it's heartbreak. It is absolutely heartbreak. Why are you going to stamp it? I'm going to stamp it because I think it's going to be easier. And I might stamp it afterwards, after I get this all sort of sewn together like this, because I don't know how it's going to be done. And I think having the names of the stuff showing is going to be interesting to have around a table, and then you move your plate and you go, oh, that's onion skin, or you move that and it's like, oh, that's what is that? That is sage, satin sage? Yeah, satin sage. I thought it might be the walnut. But that just allows for the after the plates are cleared, sort of additional conversation. Anyways, that's a stall, but that's where we're at. And 3 times 7, 21. I have 21. Okay, so I have one of those left. I'm collecting this, or at least I am accumulating. I shouldn't say collecting. I'm accumulating all of these bits, which is a thing. And I feel like I need to put them in a bag or something. I'll be right back. No bag, I have a bin. And this was the label on the sheet that I am using. There. And then I have a bunch of that. And then I think, oh, yep, that's a big one. But that's okay. Might do something with that later. I am not sure. So we have 1, 2, oh, look at that. We've got some more. Oh, got some more. 1, 2. Well, that's part of that. 3. 4. 5, 6, 7. Okay. And I have 3 of those, and we're going to need to do some more of that. So what do we want to do? We've got kind of 20 minutes. What is going to be the most valuable? What's going to be the most fun? Let's just, you know what? We have these already done. I'm not going to be able to do more than 3 anyways, so let's just do some fabric cutting. Step 1, pencil. Get those good scissors out of the way, just so there is no accidents. There we are. Okay, so this is Serge Bloom. Back. So I have started to be super picky about which ones I want. So this was in the when I did the dyeing, when we did all of the sort of the rolling, this was in the inside. So this is closest to the start of the roll, and this was on the outside. So the outside got more heat, and more heat, you got sort of more of an imprint. Oh, my stars, Gracie, what is your problem? I know. Here, there you are. You're not going to be there long anyways. I don't know why you do that. Buttonhead. Sorry about that. Okay, so, and now we can be like super, so if I just had this, and I had this sort of as a square like that, I wouldn't be able to see placement. So this allows me to sort of do placement, and this is going to be the bit that actually shows. And what's that going to be? So, oh, it's got some room. It's got room to shift. Okay. So let's do that. There. A little bit of ASMR cutting. Few things that are better than this sound. a little pop at the end. Oh. Yeah, go on. We'll probably do something with that at some point. So I want to do 1 or 2. Let's do 1. We can do the whole process? Sure, why not? I'll show you the beginning to end. So this is, so I can tell that is the wrong side of the fabric. That is the right side. I can tell because this has got more definition and there's spots and so on and so forth, whereas this is just sort of like a wash. You might want that as your primary face out. Feel free to do the inverse. A lot of people use their reverse sides of fabric if that's the thing that they most want. So there, and I need my 3. That's where all these things have gone. They're on the bottom of that. Okay, and I need my thing, and I need my other thing. Okay. And this is how I do the setup. When I do this setup, regardless of size, I've done some, I think 2-inch hexies where I just put something in the corner. You do whatever process makes sense to you. Some people just need to pin it and off they go. It just makes me happy to have this level of what do I want to call it? Expectation, regularity. There. Good. I need 17 Ort jars. I'm just going to say that. I need an Ort jar almost everywhere in the house. There. And I'm a thimble girl. And I think I became a thimble girl somehow along the way because I was probably doing a ton of hand sewing and on fabric that was not, that needed extra effort, not like a gentle open weave linen or anything. And one of the sewers in my family, probably my mom, said, you know, you need a thimble. Because that's not good for you to have that kind of raggedy hand. And then I got used to it. And then she gave me Nana's thimble, which is made in England. It is gorgeous. It fits me perfectly. And now I'm precious about it. But when it was the only thimble I had, I used it like crazy. Oops. So over on K3N's channel this week, she has done what she calls a nettle dyeing extravaganza, which for me anyways, lives up to the hype. What she has resulted in as a kit of a couple of different kinds of fabric, some cordage, some thread, yummo to the power of the sun. And I am resisting all temptation to run out and find some nettles. She uses the pot dyeing method, which is different than how I did this dyeing, which is totally okay. You do you, you do the things that make you happiest. I am very happy to see what pot dyeing looks like. Here. We have our snippy snips. Yes, we do. Just to demonstrate. Oops. Step one, get the thread in between. There we are. There, so we've got 4. I have a magnet on this pair of scissors, so I can remount. And now we need another one. Ooh, okay. So anyways, the extravaganza, I want to go out and I want to find some nettle and try it, or try it with something else. Is that not like the most yummy thing that you can possibly think of? Like seriously. Oh my god. I sort of want to do it on the square though. And so this will be done. I will have no more of this. I will have no more. I will have no more. You know what? We will make more if we need it. The walnuts are getting very ripe and very big. And this was done using shredded. I took the walnut and I just shredded it as opposed to cut it up into bits. So we can see if the more mature walnuts will be shredded. One of the things that K3N talked about was the inspiration for the nettle dyeing. And there's a guy on the internet, of course there is, who has a movie, a documentary, YouTube series, I'm not sure what, called The Nettle Dress. And basically, he went, the thing I want to say is old school, but I don't know that it's old school. It is ancient times. It's like, okay, if you want a dress, the way you got a dress was you got some kind of material, and then you created some kind of fiber with it, and then you did something with that fiber to make it a piece of material, and then you took that material and you made something with it, either sewed it or whatever. And so this guy decided that, oh yeah, you know what, I'm going to make a nettle dress. And it took him 7 years because he had no skills to do any of the bits. So the skills that he would need would be, how do I harvest and create a fiber from nettle? Then how do I weave? Possibly how do I dye? Because I'm assuming that he colored the nettle fiber the color of nettle dye. And then I need to be able to sew the garment. That process of going from nothing to something, super common. And it took him 7 years because he had no skills to be able to do any of that. So he was having to acquire skills as he did the steps. So he didn't have them to start with. And that's also, what takes the time. I'm sure he had a life to live between bits, etc., etc. So my guild has what they call the 50-mile coat. And so they have made a coat using the same kind of principle, except that it was sheep grown and raised and shorn within a 50-mile radius. Then that fleece spun. That fleece then dyed in different colors, I think, and then woven, and then that weave designed into a coat. And somebody else took some of the same fleece and did some felting, and I think they made like an accessory of like a hat or something, or a scarf or whatever. There is some a guild in Calgary that had a 40th anniversary, and they did the same kind of thing, and they called it, and they used the 40-mile coat. Same deal. So the rabbit hole of fabric is wide and deep. And Catherine K3N said, oh, you know what? Bucket list. I want to learn how to spin, and I want to learn how to weave. It's like, girl, I got you. I totally understand that desire, because that's kind of what happened to me. So I can spin, and I can weave, and I can sew, and I can dye. I have not made such a mile coat, but with that whole notion of there is nettles, during the pandemic, my guild got flax seed, and we each planted, grew, and harvested a meter square. And then the guild did all of the bananas processing required to take flax plant and make it into linen, and then spun it, and then everybody got a little bit of that linen bit. I did not, and I'm still not sure why. Possibly I missed the email, and et cetera, et cetera. It's fine. The joy that I got in the farming of flax, that's really the joy that I got. And so flax, it's really interesting. So it makes linen, but where you sort of see the straight line between, you know what, here's a sheep, and then he goes and it's like, bzzz, and you get, it's like, okay, goes back out in the field, and then you have a bunch of fleece left. You can immediately take that fleece and start to spin it. It's beautiful stuff, but you might do a little processing, take a little bit of the lanolin out, take a little bit of the dirt off, washing and so on and so forth. But it's not, the fiber is already done. With flax, not the same thing. And the amount of messing around, the steps that you have to do to finally get linen, once you start experiencing, oh my gosh, it takes this long to get linen, you suddenly realize why linen is expensive. It's expensive because it's expensive. It takes time to get linen. And I think the doing of things like that, that sort of kind of almost museum level experiences really help with the understanding and consideration of stuff, and one's stewardship changes, because suddenly you don't just sort of know because you read it in a book. You know because you did the farming, or you did the washing, or you did the spinning, or the weaving, or the whatever. And you also, if you were a nerd about it, it gives you such great joy to go on at great length, as I am doing now, about the doing of it. But you start to understand, like, oh, that's why. One of the things that I learned, oh my God, oh my gosh, that I learned from the weaving is weaving gives you rectangles. It just does, because you have a loom and you get a rectangle. Might be wide rectangle, might be narrow rectangle, but it's going to give you a rectangle. And the rectangle shape, once you start to look at things like historical costuming and so forth, you suddenly go, oh, that's why they did it that way. Because they were getting something off a loom that was a rectangle, and they wanted, because it was expensive, they were just going to use everything that they, oh, look at that diamond. Somebody, and I'm not saying who, was being very precise about how she put these down. That's the right side. Okay, we're fine. You just understand, it's like, oh, that's why, because it was hard. It was hard work. And it's like, oh, that's why you only got like one dress. And that was your outside dress. And then you spent all this additional, you spent all the time worrying about your undergarments and changing those on the regular, but not your outerwear, because it was expensive. Not so much costly in money, though if you went to buy it, it would be expensive, I'm sure, but because the time and the energy required to make it was expensive. That's why people willed their clothing, because it was an asset. And that understanding and appreciation of like how we got to where we are has meaning to me. It might not have meaning to anybody else, but I love having that information in my soul. Wow, I'm a nerd. Okay, we're at the 40-minute mark. I'm just gonna see where we're at here. I feel like I want to do the mamagami. So I'll set this up, put it aside. We've got this done. Progress has been made. The thing is that it gets it into my hands, and I saw a video today on Instagram that basically says, you have the fabric, you have the beads, you have the paper, you have the art supplies, you have all of this stuff, and now you're waiting for like the momentum and the inspiration. And the point is that comes after you start. So you just need to open the pattern, put down a little bit of paint. You got to start doing the thing, and then it'll all sort of roll along. A little splodge. Okay, so more progress has been made. Next Saturday, I might have some more of these done. And at some point, we'll have to get to the very slow process of sewing them all together. Well, we'll find out how slow it is. Okay, so we've got all that. We've got that. This, that, these, those. There, put that out of the way. And let us do some mamagami. I'm going to put you on hold for just a second. Okay, so this is where we are eventually going. Recall this. This is a Tibetan panel coat published by folkwear.com. Check them out. They have a lot of really interesting patterns available for purchase. A lot of historical patterns, a lot of cultural patterns. Very cool. So that's where we're going. This is full of, wait for it, it's called Tibetan panel coat, and it's a bunch of panels. Recall I was talking about weaving, and we're making rectangles. Tibetan looms are about 10 inches wide, so that they are basically getting strips of fabric and then sewing them together to create this. Makes perfect sense to me. It is not a, we would say maybe it is a, oh, I'm just gonna do something different and I'll make a 10-inch pattern. They didn't have a choice, if you know what I mean. They just, okay, well, our looms are this side. We need something bigger. We'll just put them together. So the thing that I want to do is take this 2-liter milk carton and create fabric with it. And we now have fabric. And I need a lot of them. So I have 2 here. I am collecting containers and then breaking them down as I get them. This household consumes a lot of milk. And so this actually is an available resource to me. So this is what I start off with. Safety tip, figured this out early on. Get a pair of leather gloves, because if you're smashing this and moving it around on bare hands, it's going to get sore after a while. So step number 1, remove this little doobly thing. Well, I say that. There we are. And I'm keeping these because I'm keeping these. There is a cap that goes on it, and when you get them from the grocery store, there's a little rip tab. I am keeping these, the rip tabs and the caps, because at some point I may want to use that as sort of additional decoration. So that will not be to waste. The next thing I want to find out is where the seam is, and the seam is there. And so that seam gets popped down. point, I have two choices. I can just cut the seam all the way around there, or I can fiddle and faff and try and get this open. So I'll take a couple of minutes and see if I can fiddle and faff. I want to see how the bottom gets folded to just make it easier to unfold. And it is, because 2 liters of milk is in here, they overdo it on the wax, as they should. Okay, so, maybe it's the inside that I need to pay attention to. So that's the first seam. Okay, no, we're okay, I think. Okay, good job. So I'm following the folds that are in the bottom here. That's one. I can't see the other ones. What do you want to do here? You want to come up? Yes, you do. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, that's the Peloton. Saturday Peloton. So there, we've got that. Yes. Okay. And so that's going to pop over this way. Yep. Oh, okay. It's not as hard as I thought. Okay. I'll do the other side. I had been fighting, so this is not the first time that I have done this. And I have been fighting to figure it out, looking at the outside in, and this is the first time I've looked at the inside out, and the inside shows the fold lines much better. In the event that you are going to go down this rabbit hole of, hey, you know what? I need to understand how to undo one of these. Okay, and so that is a line that needs to be sort of smushed and smushed. Okay, get it a little looser. See this little tab here? I want to be able to pull these two, if I want to pull those two sides out, that's what I do. I think, maybe. Gentle. And then this last one, it's kind of doing a bit of a tear, but that's okay. Here we are. Good job. There. Ooh, I am proud of that. There we are. Not perfect, but I've got a little bit more. And so the process of getting this to this is something called mamagami, which is a slow sort of introduction of folds. If you were to do this with paper, paper is far more willing to bend to your will. This is specifically designed to not. But you see, when I'm rolling, we're already starting to get some wrinkles and folds and, oh, here's the other thing I need to take off. This bit here. This is the seam edge that we cut off. What are we doing? I rolled it that way, so I want to do it this way. So I'm trying to do kind of opposite. And if I wasn't doing this here, if I was doing it somewhere else, I might use my body weight and sort of put my heels on this as I go. Yes, it's way easier to just go buy some fabric. I get it. There. And then let's roll it this way. Sure. And as it gets softer, this process of rolling becomes easier. You can sort of go up and down the paper. And then once you're done with this sort of initial breakdown, then you can start to do the actual sort of momagami kind of random folding. So there is a lot of creases. I don't know if you can see them, that are now in here. And I should be able to then start to get fold. And this is interesting because I don't know if you can hear it. When you get to a certain point, you're doing very sort of like smaller area crushing, you can start to hear the fibers give. Also, full props to the dairy industry. I'm just going to say that out loud. The amount of work that I have to put in to destroy this package, very impressive. We are getting our milk securely delivered. And so K3N, if you are listening, Catherine, if you're listening, and if you are interested in doing some spinning, look up drop spinning. That is the method that I used to learn how to spin, and I've never actually used a wheel. Something I might want to do in the future. Drop spinning, the original way that everyone learned how to spin. 2, still relevant. 3, cheap and portable. And 4, if you understand how to drop spin, then you understand how to, you understand portions of how to wheel spin. There's still skills that you'll need. The kinds of things that you do in terms of cording and so forth, oh, you would absolutely super adore it. I know that that's giving way, and I'm just gonna be careful because I don't know what pieces I need, what I don't need at the moment. There's two brands, not really kinds. They're both 2% milk at my grocery store. And part of me is thinking, is like, ooh, I should get the other brand because it has a different colorway. And so I might have to drink a different brand of milk for a while. I'm sure it all comes from a cow. And so we've gone now from taking that carton to now being able to do that kind of scushing. And if you had a garment, you would have some. This isn't complete yet because I haven't done enough, but you can absolutely see that we're well on our way. And so what I do when I get to about here is I start looking for places where there isn't a lot of creasing, and then sort of do some what I would call focused work on particular areas. Having these gloves is absolutely crucial because I am not hurting my hands anywhere near as much as I would if I didn't have them on. So we're getting close to time, I think. So what have we done today? We've snipped our armpits. We've got a couple more hexies, and we've got another one of our Tibetan panel coat fabric pieces. So let's just sort of end it off with a bit of an inventory on how much milk carton I have. So that's today's. These were the two that I showed that were in process. And we'll wing our happy way over here. And we've got these. So we're like, it's a coat. We have got, I'm going to say close to enough material. I'll do some more just because anything worth doing is worth overdoing. We all know that. There we are. Those are my still work in processes. So there we are. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. Always appreciate having an opportunity to sew with my buddies. That's all for now. Please take very good care of yourself. Stay out of trouble. Always love you lots, and we'll see you soon. Bye now.